got it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's time to talk antiques.
Yeah.
Yes.
David.
Are we ready?
All right.
Oh, we're on?
That's the reason I was running.
What do we need to do, Ray?
I'm-
We need to
I'm
talk.
glad
Do
somebody
we need to talk
said
antiques?
Everybody noticed my Alabama hat.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, well, that's what got our attention. We were all busy looking at your hat.
Hey, while we was off air, of course, we ain't been on air, but before we got started today, Philip said something that was pretty unique. You want to come over here and tell them about the football? And by the way, I do have a Peyton Manning football sign, but it's when he played at UT.
Yeah, I was asking Dave what he thought a signed Manning football from Sunday's game would be worth, and other than a whole lot, he didn't know. But I noticed at one point or heard that they were swapping out a ball almost every play from the Super Bowl so that they can sell, a ball
Wow.
saying this ball was used in the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
and that they were estimating like 300 or something balls would be able to.
Did they have a dollar price on what the ball would bring?
No, they didn't say anything about how to get one or what they were.
Well, to me, they wouldn't be as worth as much per ball as,
Is that the team proceeds?
Here's what I would say about the whole thing. It'd
the
be,
NFL.
here's what I would say
Well,
about
yeah.
the whole thing. If I had one of them balls, I wouldn't say it's one of 300. I'd just say, you know what? I've got one of the balls that Peyton Manning used during the Super Bowl.
There you
That's
go.
what I would say. I wouldn't add in the 300.
Hey, it had air in it too.
It was-
Wasn't inflated.
it wasn't even deflated.
properly inflated.
Oh, be all them Brady fans gonna be
Well-
calling up here.
Yeah.
You know what I say though? I say that 10 years from now, that ball bring. You're talking about a good investment. And that's what this show's about anyway. Try to educate the public on how to invest in antiques, whether it be Coke machines, gas pumps, or footballs, with intentions of, it gaining value over the years. And that would be a good example. Can you imagine what that football bring 10 years from now?
20, 30.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Won't you
I'll try to look up.
Google a little bit and see what we can buy one for? Maybe we can all go together and buy one ball.
We'll see.
we're talking about gaining value and preserving history.
Yeah.
That's another big
Yeah.
part of it is preserving
Hey,
history.
What about a Super Bowl ring?
Whoa.
And if this is his last year, he decides to retire.
I believe he will.
Well, if he does, what
rather sell pizza
that
than
adds
get hit.
value to that ball too. It's the last game he played. And he won the game.
And
That game was. That's the reason I don't bet on football.
I never
'Cause
have.
I would have bet the other way.
Listen, I watched too many people lose everything they had from gambling and drinking. So I've decided, that's two things I don't do. I don't gamble and I don't drink.
I've never even bought a lottery ticket.
Well, now I have.
I haven't.
I say I don't gamble. I have bought 2 lottery tickets in my whole life,
I've
and that's
never.
when it got up to that billion.
Big one.
yeah, never.
And
never bought the
somebody
first
from
one.
Tennessee did win.
Yeah.
Part of the $1 billion or whatever it was.
I've just never been lucky enough, to win at anything like that. So I've never.
Well, a pinball machine taught me that a long
Oh.
time ago. Anything that backs itself up the wall and dares you put money in it, you better leave
Well,
it alone.
I remember.
Well, I grew up around pinball because
Yeah.
that was the thing in all of our little drive-in restaurants. They had a pinball, a jukebox. Some of them had bowling machines.
Oh, I got so bad, David. I believe I would have killed somebody
I
for
know.
rolling
I
knickknacks
was
back.
fixing to say you took yours out of your restaurant because people were putting their checks in them, and
I was one of the first ones to have back then. I had a poker machine, and I took that thing out because I realized how people were addicted to it, and
Oh, yes.
I just hated to look when a person came in and cashed their check and played those machines, and then I look over there and they buy their family something to eat. But my thing was, what about the next day? How they're going to be able to pay their bills? And it just bothered me, so we took it out.
That's
And everybody made fun of me. Said
You were
you're.
exactly right, though.
People said you're a fool. I said I might be, but I feel better.
Making
That's
money
the point I
off of
was
the poor
making.
is
I'm not going to do that.
You weren't letting people ruin themselves.
I'm not.
Over.
And of course, other people
over
went
gambling
with it and ran
addictions.
with it, but that's their business.
Well, I can see
And I
people-
don't condemn. That's totally their. If that's how they want to do.
But you see people that make their living by that, and then it ends up costing them
It could.
Yeah.
big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You reap what you sow.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Let's talk walking stick.
Yeah, we were going to, and also Ray was talking this morning about how he needed a walking stick,
That's right.
and I said,
You gonna
well,
get him one?
we were going to talk about walking
Man, take
sticks.
me one.
You're not that old,
Well, I'll
Ray.
tell you what you could do, Ray. Have you got an old broom? Just cut
Yeah.
that broom part off and just.
Well, people talk bad about me. You got to know that class of people
Oh,
I hang
okay.
out
Hey,
with.
now, I've got enough.
Yeah, it'd be kind of. I guess it would look bad, and you walking in there with
Yeah.
a broomstick.
And be one of them, first thing you'd say, there he comes with that.
He's not riding
mammal.
it. He's not riding it. He's walking with
I've
it.
got an old stick on my front porch. You remember that when we took out of your rent house? It was twisted up,
Yeah.
and you didn't want it. That would make Ray a
That'd
nice
make a
walking
classic.
stick.
Hey, they're really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll
Okay.
give you that.
Let's get into some history here about walking.
Yeah, we were going to talk a little bit about the history of walking sticks, and David's got some nice examples he's going to pull up and talk to us about.
I do have.
You do have.
Okay.
You
If you say I do, I know I do.
Well, you showed them to me, so I know you do. And now, when most people these days think of an antique cane or a walking stick, they picture a crooked crutch in the hand of some feeble old man, who's shaking it at some young whippersnapper, unlucky enough to have crossed his path, But between 1550 and 1930, and I don't know if people realize, canes were simply an accessory that a proper lady or gentleman would never leave the house without.
Yeah.
They always had their cane. They weren't intended to be used as much as they were to be worn. And worn they were by historical figures and fictional figures alike, from Abraham Lincoln and Gandhi to any number of...
Noah.
Yeah, Noah, he had a big stick.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
That's right.
Even old Moses carried one, part of the waters with him.
And as we were talking a while ago, Buford Pusser had a big stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he walked with it, but he had one.
Well, he probably did. He walked the dog, that's for sure.
Yeah, he walked some of those figures
Big
in them
dogs.
bars. Yeah. But any number of Fred Astaire characters, and James Bond, these elegant statements, which were what they were fashion statements. They could be hand carved out of wood or bamboo or ivory, gold, silver, glass. They had a lot of them had jewels in them, and then they were sprinkled with lots of precious gemstones. And many of the materials used in canes, and particularly the gemstones and the animal bones, they were selected because they were thought to give the finished object magical properties.
Well, think about Fred Astaire and all those folks that danced. They always had a walking stick or some kind in their hand.
Right, even Michael Jackson in one of his videos, he had a cane and white gloves.
They were, and still are. I mean, now people actually use them.
But back then
But
they
you don't see gentlemen carrying them now.
No, not like you used to.
they were a fashion statement.
But they were. You're right.
Now, a walking stick could be used to punctuate a point, helping one when hiking on a long trail, dispatch an opponent, showing off your carving skills. They had little places in them to hide cash, or a rolled up map leading to buried treasure. What about, would you like to find one of them?
Knives.
Knives.
I've seen one that was actually it's almost like a sword.
Right, and in fact, the canes and staffs and scepters that can be traced back to ancient times, they were often used precisely for that purpose.
I seen one time, Ronnie, that was it was a gun. It would shoot one shell.
I'll be dang. And they were used for all kinds of things. To
And
fend
James
off
Bond had that kind, probably.
wild animals, to travel over rugged terrain on foot, or to convey the status and the power of the holder. The status would be the gemstones.
Yeah.
Or, the more status you had, the nicer cane you would have.
Right.
Like people's, clothing today. Beginning
Well, that is an accessory, like you said, and that's what clothes are. Some of the accessories that you do.
Exactly
when you have
right.
a suit or something.
Exactly. Beginning in the 16th century, Europe, canes became an important part of a person's image. So, etiquette regarding walking sticks was established. Like there's etiquette to eating dinner and stuff like that. For example, a gentleman was not to carry his cane under his arm, nor was he to lean on it. It was also bad manners to bring your cane in the presence of an important person. like a king, probably because the walking stick might contain a weapon, like a sword.
Which they do have.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Walking sticks, now they're generally classified into three categories: folk art canes, city sticks, and gadget or systems canes. Probably the most fascinating of these is the gadget cane, which is what we've
The
been
knife, the gun.
sitting here talking about. Now, in the United States, there was once more than 1,500 patents for gadget canes. These might hide a weapon like a sword or a gun, which could be drawn at a moment's notice. Your cane might be a convenient container for perfume or alcohol with a built-in sprayer or flask, as the case may be. The canes could also conceal cigarettes, a pipe, smelling salts, or makeup. Now, other canes contain useful tools like microscopes, barometers, horse measures.
Yeah.
And they measure their horses.
Yeah, they're measured in hands.
Right, and even fishing poles. And then there were musical canes, which were designed to hide a violin bow, or doctor's canes, which held secret stashes of medical supplies. You never know what you might find inside of an antique cane.
Well, I tell you, I used to use watches that had cameras built in with audio. Sit there and record people and they'd never know
I know.
it. But I give over $300 for it now. You can buy it for $30.
How about that?
Same thing.
You know,
May not be the same quality, but
thinking of somebody that used to carry a cane, I think of Bat Masterson. Remember?
oh yeah, yep.
Yes,
Yeah,
He was one of the good ones. Yep.
Yeah, Bat
Yes.
Masterson.
Now, and we have a little story in our Antique Week, which is another one of our places that we like to.
Yeah, we love antique.
We love the Antique Weekly, yes. And this comes from
We
Johnson
got
City.
about 2 minutes. So
Okay.
Do you want to go ahead and take a break, or you want to?
Let's go ahead and take a break, because this story comes from Johnson City, and I would like to.
Johnson City, Tennessee.
Johnson City, Tennessee, yes. And we have another story from Tennessee, so let's go ahead and take our break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about that.
Do you need a part for your car that the dealer just wants too much money for? Well, bring your toolbox and pull the part yourself for huge savings at the CFC Auto Salvage Pick and Pull on Highway 55 between Tullahoma and Manchester. No walking through waist-high weeds here. All of our vehicles are located in our graveled parking lot, up on blocks with room to work. We stock hundreds of cars and trucks, foreign and domestic, new and old, with new vehicles added weekly. You can even search our entire vehicle inventory online. And if your old vehicle gives up the ghost, bring it by. We offer top dollar for your salvage vehicle. Open to the public 7 days a week until dark, so there's plenty of time to come by. That's CFC Auto Salvage Pick and Pull.
John Hirschman. I'm one of the original 6 owners of P&H Rentals. Started the company 30 years ago when we saw a need for individual, construction, industrial, and commercial storage. We have trailers and containers for lease and sell. Our physical location is 2947 Old Manchester Highway, Tullahoma, Tennessee. My phone number is area code 931-273-4252.
We would like to thank Dr. David Florence for supporting Let's Talk Antiques. See Dr. Florence at 804 Kalon Street in Manchester for all of your medical needs. Call 728-5522 for your appointment today. Most insurances accepted.
The Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester has been voted as having the best hamburgers in Manchester. Hometown atmosphere, historical memorabilia, and of course those great burgers, salads, chicken, and so much more. It's the Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester. Call in orders at 728-4452. You can also order at the convenient outdoor curb service. Hamburgers are made the old-fashioned way at the Jiffy Burger, Manchester's finest hamburgers. Open 7:30 until 9, Monday through Saturday.
Madeline's Antiques and Uniques at 6107 Murfreesboro Road in Manchester has been helping collectors find just the right thing since 2008. With 40 quality dealers and a constantly changing inventory of collectibles from the 1800s to the present, they have many unique items in the store and new things coming in daily. Are you looking for the perfect lamp or clock to finish your collection? A vintage lunchbox from your childhood? Well, you can find that plus any number of other unique items in their huge building. With their easy access off I-24, they meet many travelers from around the world and just around the corner that come to buy and sell antiques, or just to stop and have a free cup of coffee and a cookie while browsing around the store. Come visit owner Madeline Kemp and travel back in time at Madeline's Antiques and Uniques. So many memories.
All right, we're back, and just to let you know, Philip's been on task, and he cannot find how to buy one of those Super Bowl footballs yet. Keep hunting.
I'll keep working.
All right, Ronnie, you're going to talk about some more canes, right?
Yes, I couldn't tell you how to buy a Super Bowl ball if I had to. But when we left, we were going to talk about this Johnson City auction. And it's straight.
That auction, it sold nothing but canes at that auction, is that right?
Right, and different styles.
Now, that right there tells you that if they had an auction just to sell canes, now that tells you that there's some high dollars in canes in.
And there are.
Yeah.
And I would have never dreamed of that.
Yeah.
Me neither.
No, not at all.
Now, there are a few collectible areas where a single auctioneer and auction house are virtually synonymous with a particular collecting specialty. If it's antique canes or walking sticks. However, Kimball Sterling in Johnson City, Tennessee is the place and the man. And it's just like David was talking earlier. When you look these up, you have to look them up both ways.
Yeah. Walking sticks, walking canes.
And because they're...
Hiking sticks. There's different ways to look them up.
Right. Now, Kimball Sterling's winter antique cane auction on December 12th included 239 lots. Included were...
Which is 239 canes.
Right. Or, yes, I would say so. Yeah. Included were dress canes, sword and gun canes, maritime, a few fraternal and folk art creations, most dated from the 19th century. A number of canes feature ivory decorative effects such as handles, knobs, collars, and the like. Now, each of these, they had an evaluation of the age of the ivory and accompanying statements that the object conforms to the applicable ivory laws, because there are a lot of laws.
Depends on when it was made.
Yes, concerning ivory because of the tusks of the animals.
Well, because of poaching.
Right, exactly. And so you have to have the statement saying you're exactly right when it was made. The ivory is in, they're showing a cane here, and they're saying the ivory in this particular cane complies with the Endangered Species Act of 1973, which is currently the law in the United States. It is our opinion that this cane was made before 1973 and that the ivory has not been repaired or altered and is legal to sell in the United States unless your state has additional restrictions. In addition to providing multiple views, the full color catalog descriptions include detailed information on date, materials of the four cane elements: the handle, the collar, the shaft, and the ferrule, as well as any of the hallmarks or attributions. Each lot has a pre-sale estimate and a suggested starting bid. Now, collectors of antique canes cross many traditional collecting specialties, including fashion, wildlife, dog and cat fanciers, fine jewelry enthusiasts, military and gun collectors, as well as erotica. These various interests I gotta go to a different page here to finish the story.
Well, I see two birds on one cane there.
Yeah. And you see there's some diamond inlay on that one. They satisfied primarily by the design and the images of the cane handles. If one was trying to populate a zoo of canes, this sale would have built a very respectable base. A number of canes featured images of creatures, including both wild and domestic varieties. On the wild side, the sale began with a full-form elephant, finely carved from ivory to form a ball-like handle. Other elephants included an elephant head forming the end of the crooked on the handle, and another with an elephant head peering out of the side. Now, the elephants were joined by the king of the jungle, which is the lion. Lions ruled the sale as well, with a number of examples. A single hippopotamus formed the green jasper, a black forest cane which featured two bears on and in a tree
Black Forest,
trunk.
that's Germany, right?
Right, and various other creatures, including a group of rats with jeweled eyes, passive ivory rabbits, a few snakes, and various materials, and even a couple of alligators rounded out their creature collection. Top dogs included some breeds that might not meet American Kennel Club standards, but served their masters well on canes. These included a finely carved smoky quartz dachshund, property hallmarked from the British maker Briggs. Bulldogs included an automated French bulldog carved from fruit wood, both which opened their mouths to reveal a red tongue and threatening sharp teeth and barked as the mouth closed. Now, how do you get a cane to open its mouth and bark?
That's wild. I tell you, we might take some of those and send to Nick Saban down there some of them elephant head walking sticks.
Yeah.
Probably sell them, couldn't we?
Yeah, I bet you could.
Yeah.
Another French bulldog featured a full form lying down and peering with two insert red eyes. Other dogs included a 1940s composite whipped head handle, a similar ivory 1900s whipped version, a 1920s bronze spaniel head, a playful pair of dogs playing on a log, and dated 1870 ivory greyhound. Other British examples rounded out the kennels with a very British bulldog head and a reclining spaniel. And then they had a lot of cats, which were represented by a very formal standing violin maestro cat in vest and tails with instruments. They had instruments in their left paw and a bow in the other paw. And the cat's tail protrudes through the tailcoat slit. An early 1900s straight ivory handle is carved with a cat sitting on a tree stump about to pounce on a rat. They have all kinds of wild handles here on these things.
I just never dreamed of walking sticks being collectible.
Well, you don't think of them like that, though.
Yeah.
We think of them as
That's
actually
true.
using them. We got a call? All right.
Go ahead, caller.
Dave,
Yeah.
Dave, this is Sammy Farley.
Yeah, Sammy.
Forget the Masonic cane.
Oh, yeah. Ronnie, talk about that. Ronnie was talking about the Masonic cane before we went on air.
Yes, and we were talking about
The two cane.
the cane that I had let somebody use, and their wife has been nagging me to come and get it, and Ray was wanting a cane, and it's actually has a little holder inside of it, and it has 3 wooden balls inside that cane.
Which is? Go ahead, tell
Well,
me.
it has.
And it's a Masonic.
It's a Masonic cane, yes.
What do they call it?
A 2-ball cane.
A 2-ball cane?
A 2-ball cane. It has
What
two
does that
balls.
mean?
I'm not going to tell you what that means.
I don't want to know
Right.
either.
And I don't think Sammy wants to tell you. but it is
That's that secret
it's
stuff,
it's
right?
very important to a Mason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sammy?
Yeah,
Well, did you hear that? Did you hear Ronnie?
I sure did, and I thought he'd give you a good answer.
I think you did, Sammy. All right, we're going to take a break, and thank you for calling.
John Hirschman. I'm one of the original 6 owners of P&H Rentals. Started the company 30 years ago when we saw a need for individual, construction, industrial, and commercial storage. We have trailers and containers for lease and sell. Our physical location is 2947 Old Manchester Highway, Tullahoma, Tennessee. My phone number is area code 931-273-4252.
The Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester has been voted as having the best hamburgers in Manchester. Hometown atmosphere, historical memorabilia, and of course those great burgers, salads, chicken, and so much more. It's the Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester. Call in orders at 728-4452. You can also order at the convenient outdoor curb service. Hamburgers are made the old-fashioned way at the Jiffy Burger, Manchester's finest hamburgers. Open 7:30 until 9, Monday through Saturday.
Madeline's Antiques and Uniques at 6107 Murfreesboro Road in Manchester has been helping collectors find just the right thing since 2008. With 40 quality dealers and a constantly changing inventory of collectibles from the 1800s to the present, they have many unique items in the store and new things coming in daily. Are you looking for the perfect lamp or clock to finish your collection? A vintage lunchbox from your childhood? Well, you can find that plus any number of other unique items in their huge building. With their easy access off I-24, they meet many travelers from around the world and just around the corner that come to buy and sell antiques, or just to stop and have a free cup of coffee and a cookie while browsing around the store. Come visit owner Madeline Kemp and travel back in time at Madeline's Antiques and Uniques. So many memories.
We would like to thank Dr. David Florence for supporting Let's Talk Antiques. See Dr. Florence at 804 Kalon Street in Manchester for all of your medical needs. Call 728-5522 for your appointment today. Most insurances accepted.
Need a part for your car that the dealer just wants too much money for? Well, bring your toolbox and pull the part yourself for huge savings at the CFC Auto Salvage Pick and Pull on Highway 55 between Tullahoma and Manchester. No walking through waist-high weeds here. All of our vehicles are located in our graveled parking lot, up on blocks with room to work. We stock hundreds of cars and trucks, foreign and domestic, new and old, with new vehicles added weekly. You can even search our entire vehicle inventory online. And if your old vehicle gives up the ghost, bring it by. We offer top dollar for your salvage vehicle. Open to the public 7 days a week until dark, so there's plenty of time to come by. That's CFC Auto Salvage Pick and Pull.
All right, we're back, and just to let y'all know, on the break, I told Keith to quit playing snow songs because as he's playing them, it's snowing harder.
Exactly.
Now,
I got two more in the next break.
You may be making it snow.
Now we've got Detective Phillip. He's, we was talking about that Super Bowl ball, so he's going to come in here and kind of clue you in where we're at on that.
Yeah, so we're...
Okay, I've been looking for half an hour for game balls from Super Bowl 50, and there are none for sale right now, but I found an article where they were talking about how much they would be worth, and a game ball they said would range in value from $1,500 to $2,500, and that's just for a ball used during the game that's unsigned,
Wow.
but it's authenticated. And now they were saying that if since they were expecting Cam Newton to rush for a touchdown, and he always hands the ball to somebody in the front row in the end zone, and they were saying that would be worth $10,000 at least unsigned, and if they could get him to sign it later, it'd be worth $15,000.
Wow.
It's actually a little low.
Well, I wonder that you didn't find nothing about Peyton Manning's signature ball on the.
No, and there's none for sale. Right? I mean, I'm sure there will be, but there's zero for sale.
Give it a little time.
Well, they used Cam Newton for a football. I think he sacked about 8 times, wasn't he?
Hey, and another thing, while we was on break, of course, Ronnie wants to finish up his Kane story, but
We're not
Ray made a good point that he says Keith favors Buddy Holly with those glasses on.
He does.
He really does.
What was that big hit
Wave
he
at the
had?
camera.
We were just sitting here thinking, wouldn't it be nice if those were Buddy Holly's glasses?
Yeah.
Even with the broke lens.
Well, Keith could say they was.
Yeah,
That's right.
Well, we could break a lens
Can you
out.
sing like Buddy Holly?
I knew who he was.
See, what was the name of that big hit he had?
Oh, which one?
The first one that come out that really put him on.
They
the
had
map.
Rave On. They had Peggy Sue.
Peggy Sue.
That'll be the day.
I've been looking at Keith all morning waiting for him to start
All right,
singing
now
that.
Keith, while we're
Oh,
talking.
him. Okay, yeah, I know who that is.
Okay, so now
Peggy
you
Sue.
How'd you Google him?
you pull up Peggy Sue there, and we'll as we go out on our next break, you can let the people hear that.
I'll do that.
What you're going to sing the
And turn
next
around and
time.
smile for the camera so they can see this.
Yeah, and let them know that you are going to sing that when we come back.
All right.
looks like
And-
Well,
I can lip sync,
all right. Well,
I bet you can sing anyway. I bet
yes,
you sing
he
in
can
church.
sing.
maybe.
Okay, now we were talking about canes. We've got a couple of interesting items here about the canes, and then David's gonna give us some prices from canes.
Well, you've got one there though. That one.
I've got a couple of prices.
Yeah, but on that other
we're
page,
gonna,
Ronnie.
we're gonna talk about here.
What about that one though?
Yes,
That's a high dollar. You need to mention that one too.
We will.
All right. Can you get back to that page?
I know right where it says.
Okay.
Now, some men of wealth and position might also be targets for criminals, so some canes provided a measure of defense by doubling as swords, daggers, guns, and even as a weighted club, which we talked about earlier. This sale included a marked Briggs & Sons 1889 sword cane with a more symbolic than functional 17-inch square engraved and jeweled blade. Of course, it's more symbolic with the jewels in it. I'd hate to
Still hurts you though.
poke some criminal and lose a few of my diamonds.
Well, would you poke him
from
though
the
to save your
rubies.
life?
I'd try to hit him over the head first and save my jewels, because that's money to me, A much more ominous example was the 1890s English Henry Howell simple crew candle cane with a double-edged 28.5-inch blade. A single-shot 9mm gun cane was also offered. But now, long before Playboy or Penthouse magazines, some gentlemen preferred to carry erotic scenes with them on their canes. These range from simple classic female nude forms to images of raw sexual activity. A large number of female nudes included in ivory opera handle and front and back views of a reclining nude and another ivory, not very modestly
You would
draped.
think a gentleman though would go out with that kind of a cane. That's not a very
No,
good.
I wouldn't think so
That
either.
wouldn't be a very good witness for a gentleman.
No.
So,
Be to get dateless.
so past that, Ronnie, what is?
Now, more imaginative examples included a carved ivory Victorian lady's leg with a garter and a high button shoe, a pistol-shaped ivory handle with a kneeling girl with all the essentials hidden, a few Venus-like images of more classic form, and a bashful girl with long hair providing some modesty. The more
All right,
graphic...
let's get past all the girls and
Well,
get to the birds or something.
I was finishing up right here.
Yeah.
The more graphic examples, I was going to say, we will leave to the reader's imagination.
That's right. That's enough on it.
Now, we have some tiny, some of the examples we have here are of some canes here are tiny individual set rose diamonds, which form the date 1831.
Oh, in diamonds?
In diamonds, on a mantle, yellow gold collar attaching a hard stone handle dress cane with typical contemporary continental,
How much that bring?
ivory shaft. It brought $5,843.
Good. What about you? Is that a bird down there on the bottom that you got, or is that a seal? I see seals. I see one that looks like a seal.
This is a dachshund.
Okay.
And wearing
Well, I can
a
see
fine gold collar. Now he's got a gold collar on. Was the crown of the Briggs London cane, and it sold for $5,228. Okay. Now the one we were talking about earlier here was a rock crystal handle and knob dress cane. They were strong sellers in this auction. This circa 1890 example, which we were talking about, it featured an engraved teardrop-shaped crystal with small turquoise mounted on the center of the engraved four-leaf collar images, and that was the top seller at $6,150. Mounted atop an ivory shaft with 18-karat yellow gold collar, and tipped with a horn there. It could be attributed to one of the top Parisian jewelers of the French era of canes. Now, David's got some fine examples of canes that he's
here's
found.
one. I just went and done completed auctions on eBay, and here's one that has it's got the head of Henry Clay. You know who Henry Clay is?
Yes.
And then it's got more carvings. Besides that, it's got animals on it. And that stick brought $2,000 with 19 bids.
With 19 bids.
Yeah. Now here's one. Remember we talked about having the one with the sword and stuff. Here's
Right.
One, Here's one that was actually a sword, and it brought $1,350.
Wow.
Now here's a real unique one. This is a hand card. It's a hand holding a Civil War cannonball.
We were talking about that.
1st New York Light Artillery. And it's got a date on it and stuff. And this had 33 bids and brought $1,225.
Yeah, that's another example of something that those soldiers would do in the wintertime, when they weren't fighting, and, it kind of tells, that they did have hobbies and...
Yeah, well, they had some time to do that kind of stuff.
Right,
Here's one, Dakota Indian. It was carved by them, and, it's almost like, it's got animals on it, and it's got heads on it, and this is 1885 now. It brought $3,495.
There's a lot of intricate work on that one, I see.
Here's a nice Russian walking stick. It had 3 bids, brought $730. Here's an Art Deco. It's got a ball on top,
right,
with a gold brand. It brought $1,200. Here is a Thomas Jefferson cradle. Now it brought $760 in 20 bids. Let me see what Thomas. It says rare, but if something's rare, you think would have brought more than $760. Let's see what the description says about it.
Yeah.
Comes with exceptional condition. Was kept in the family until recently. Was a Confederate soldier who hand carved these canes and sewed them in fronts of Jefferson's tomb.
Okay.
So this was after the Civil War. He carved these and sold them.
And
he was standing in front of Jefferson's tomb to sell them.
There were quite a few of them.
Yeah, and it measured about 3 foot long. So the guy after the Civil War, that's how he made some money, was carving canes. So that answers why. Let me see what else we got here. Here's a 1880, and this looks like whalebone or something. And this one, and it's got all kind of figures on it, and this is the handle part of it. It brought $1,500. Let's see. Oh, here's one that's got a hand carved alligator on the top where you put your hand. I guess with those spines, that'd be a good rate to get you traction to hold on. That thing brought $611.50 and had 19 bids. Oh, here's a good one. Carved horn pirate skull. So it's a pirate skull. You've seen the skull and crossbones. Okay. It brought $995. And here's one. Here's a nice looking one. It's Black Forest. You know, you talked about Black Forest earlier. This is a dog's head on the top of where you put your hand. It brought $799.
That's a neat looking cane right there on the end.
This Hawaiian cane?
Yeah.
Let's see what it says about this Hawaiian cane. All right. Let's see. It's a left-hand walking cane, Ronnie. Handcrafted in Hawaii. And I mean, it is fancy, isn't it?
Yes,
got
it
birds
is.
on it, and it's got almost like a. If anybody's familiar with an old wood handsaw, you know how you. That's basically what that grip looks
That's
like.
what caught my attention,
Yeah,
huh?
it almost looks like a handsaw grip.
Yeah.
And that baby brought $555. And guess what? With that, you got free shipping.
Yeah. And like Stanley Parmley was talking about earlier, the Masonic canes, you know, there's a lot of work and a lot of craftsmanship that goes into those canes. And that's one of the first things that I bought when I became a Mason. And I went to the Grand Lodge in Nashville. I think you took me, as a matter of fact. And there was a guy there selling those, and they just drew me straight to him. I couldn't help it.
Well, let me tell you about Orberly Ogles. Now, he was a gentleman that lived here, and he was a carpenter, and he was a fine carver.
Oh,
and
God, he made some nice stuff.
Yeah, he had walking sticks, Ray.
Yeah.
And he had one, I mean, he made me one, that what he done, he took a stick. He'd go out and find vines and stuff and roots, and he'd cut them off, and he'd make walking sticks. And he made one, he whittled all the inside out about 6 inches, and he had it where I asked him how he done it, and of course he's dead and gone, so I could tell his secret now. What he would do, he would get the wood wet, and he would slide marbles in there. There might be 12 marbles stacked on top of each other, and you wonder, how did he get them in there? And once he straightened the wood back up and it dried, you could look around all four corners and see the marbles in there. And you thought, well, how did he do it? But that's how he done it. He wet the wood, pried it apart, slid the marbles in, put it back together. When it dried, it was hard as a rock.
Now, that
But Orberly Ogles,
ability.
I mean, you talking about a gentleman that was really good at that kind of stuff. He was one of the first I knew that actually would go out and find roots and stuff and make walking sticks
He
out
was
of them.
really a
He had
craftsman.
a van full of them. I wouldn't mind having an Orberly Ogle walking stick. Well, I do have one.
You do have one.
Oh, here's one of another dog. It brought $499. And here's one of a wolf. It's a silver handle, it looks like, but it must not be real silver because it only brought $396.
Look at this one. That looks like it's just like a stick.
That in there? Yeah. Let's see what it says. Oh, it's got 16 animals and birds carved on it.
Wow.
Ron. It brought $385.50 and had 7 bids. Keith, is it break time? We better get out of here and take a break, and then we'll come back and finish up on walking sticks or whatever.
Madeline's Antiques and Uniques at 6107 Murfreesboro Road in Manchester has been helping collectors find just the right thing since 2008. With 40 quality dealers and a constantly changing inventory of collectibles from the 1800s to the present, they have many unique items in the store and new things coming in daily. Are you looking for the perfect lamp or clock to finish your collection? A vintage lunchbox from your childhood? Well, you can find that plus any number of other unique items in their huge building. With their easy access off I-24, they meet many travelers from around the world and just around the corner that come to buy and sell antiques, or just to stop and have a free cup of coffee and a cookie while browsing around the store. Come visit owner Madeline Kemp and travel back in time at Madeline's Antiques and Uniques. So many memories.
The Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester has been voted as having the best hamburgers in Manchester. Hometown atmosphere, historical memorabilia, and of course those great burgers, salads, chicken, and so much more. It's the Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester. Call in orders at 728-4452. You can also order at the convenient outdoor curb service. Hamburgers are made the old-fashioned way at the Jiffy Burger, Manchester's finest hamburgers. Open 7:30 until 9, Monday through Saturday.
Need a part for your car that the dealer just wants too much money for? Well, bring your toolbox and pull the part yourself for huge savings at the CFC Auto Salvage Pick and Pull on Highway 55 between Tullahoma and Manchester. No walking through waist-high weeds here. All of our vehicles are located in our graveled parking lot, up on blocks with room to work. We stock hundreds of cars and trucks, foreign and domestic, new and old, with new vehicles added weekly. You can even search our entire vehicle inventory online. And if your old vehicle gives up the ghost, bring it by. We offer top dollar for your salvage vehicle. Open to the public 7 days a week until dark, so there's plenty of time to come by. That's CFC Auto Salvage Pick and Pull.
My name's John Hirschman. I'm one of the original 6 owners of P&H Rentals. Started the company 30 years ago when we saw a need for individual, construction, industrial, and commercial storage. We have trailers and containers for lease and sell. Our physical location is 2947 Old Manchester Highway, Tullahoma, Tennessee. My phone number is area code 931-273-4252.
We would like to thank Dr. David Florence for supporting Let's Talk Antiques. See Dr. Florence at 804 Kalon Street in Manchester for all of your medical needs. Call 728-5522 for your appointment today. Most insurances accepted.
I guess winding up on walking sticks.
Right.
I think there was a lady that was on. I don't know.
Yes.
Hang on 1 second.
Yeah, let's talk. She wants to talk about walking sticks.
All right. And we want to talk to Walker
Go ahead.
about whether.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, about one, it was a relative that carved one and had the snake around it. And I was wondering if you would know how much that could be about, because I think it was diamonds in the eyes.
Wow.
That would be a nice piece to have.
Yeah. Now, I've seen the folk art snake walking sticks, you know, that actually had the snake curled around the stick, and at the top was the head where you put your hand.
Mm-hmm.
And now, is that kind of like, yours evidently is not folk art if it had diamonds in it. Was that snake wrapped around a stick?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Do you know what it was made out of?
I think it was an oak or a cedar.
Yeah.
And the thing about these is that, you know, they didn't mass produce this folk art, all these folk art pieces. They were hand carved, and so every one of them's different.
Yeah.
You know, and it would be up to a particular individual's taste, but
Well-
sounds to me like it's got an intricate design to it, and
Well,
it's got
yeah.
diamonds in the eyes.
Yeah.
So it's got to be a nice piece.
I'll see what we can find. Right now, I hadn't seen anything, but I'm right now on it, going to look and see what I can find on it, and see if I can find one.
It was made back in about in the 1920, late 20s.
Okay.
Yeah. Only thing on here right now, there is a 19. This is a sterling silver coil snake. It's a walking stick, and it brought $474.99. And then here's one it's a wooden one, but it looks like a cobra, and it only brought $345, but it had 38 bids. And that top one I told you about, the sterling silver one, it had 37 bids. And here's actually a wooden one, hand carved folk art type. It had 22 bids, and it's a copperhead. This walking stick is, you know, that's coiled around it, and it brought $283. So really, we'd probably have to look at if you could send the station a picture of that stick and let us do a little bit more research on it for
Yeah,
you.
and that would be a nice one to run
Yeah.
on eBay. No telling what it would bring.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. It's one of the family, and
Yeah, see if you can get them to send a picture to WMSR. Where do they need to send it to, Keith?
You can send it to swap@thunder1320.com.
okay.
All right, then. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's interesting, isn't it? See, I mean,
Yeah. Now we only have a little bit of time left here, and I
2
wanted
minutes.
to.
You better.
I wanted to let people know that the Hendersonville show that used to be the Heart of Country Antique National Antiques. They disappeared in June of 2014. And now the Heart of Tennessee Antique Show will make its debut February 12th, 13th, with more than 50 experienced vendors.
Is that up in Nashville?
That's in
Where at?
Hendersonville,
Where at?
Tennessee.
Does it say where?
The Hendersonville Expo Center
Okay.
on Volunteer Road in Hendersonville, located 18 miles northeast of downtown Nashville, and it's considered a part of the Nashville metropolitan area. And I just want to let people know that they will be starting to do that show again for people that's been going to it.
All right. With that, we're going to get out of here.